Welcome back. I am so excited that you have joined me again in the Aligned Womb, Aligned You podcast. I'm Kate Nagai, and I am your host and womb guide on this journey. I'm here to help you to lean into the language of your menstrual cycle so that you can align yourself and awaken and activate to your womb wisdom to live the most inspired life. I am so excited to jump into this episode and to dive into today's topic. So let's get started. Welcome back. How is everyone enjoying their summer? It's only been a few days here for me, and I'm feeling all the feelings. I'm feeling the excitement and the joy of summer, but I'm also feeling the rush and the overscheduling and the staying up way too late. As I was getting ready this morning, when I was thinking about what I was going to say today, the song from Grease came into my head of Summer Lovin', happened so fast. I can't think of all the words now. Summer Lovin', had me a blast. That's kind of how I feel right now with the energy of summer and what's happening in my household. And it surprises me. I went to go book something yesterday and I realized I've already booked up my whole week. And last minute, I went out with a friend last night for supper and it was amazing and so much fun. But I didn't get home until after midnight. I looked at my phone when we were at the restaurant and I was like, how is it 11:30? I gotta go. But this is the energy of summer. This is the carousel that we jump on, and it's fun while it lasts. And then there's a pivotal moment when we're like, I am seasick. I need to get off this thing. I need to find the earth again with my feet. And that is our desire to emerge into fall. So right now, we are on the carousel. Right now, we are riding the ride. We're feeling the joy, and it's all good. So today, I wanted to give you a few tips of how you can really go into the fullness of summer without burning yourself out. Not to say you won't, but these little tips or tools, my hope is that they just provide a safe little boundary or fence for you to be able to be in the fullness of summer while still remembering what it is that you need. So these are my 3 hot tips for you this summer of how to embrace it, how to live it fully, how to get the most out of it without totally depleting the system. So my first tip is when we're in summer, to really remember we need to still embrace our cycle. We need to be able to incorporate what we've learned about our inner seasons and apply it to this really high energy outer season. Now, summer is so important. It is the time of fullness. It is the time of lots of excitement and, things coming into the world, being birthed, right? This is when gardens grow. This is when trees become their fullest. There's a lot that happens here that's really important. It's a pivotal moment in the seasons, just like winter is in its opposite. And so we are, and this is a bigger conversation, I won't get too much into it today, but we are cycles within cycles within cycles. And what that means is that we can have many different cycles running through our life, and they're intertwining. And we can live in them independently, but with the mindset of the bigger cycle happening around us. So for instance, let's just look at these 2 cycles that are happening. Let's not get it too confusing here. We have our environmental cycle happening, which we're in our high peak season of summer. And then we have our menstrual cycle, whatever season we might be in our menstrual cycle. And what this tells us is that with this big outer season of summer, what is happening in our menstrual cycle will feel a little different than if the environmental season was winter and we were in our menstrual cycle. So for instance, let's make it easy. Let's look at winter here. If we were in our if we were in the environmental winter and we were just after our bleed days, we're in that inner spring energy in ourselves, we probably will still feel a little sluggish and slow because we're in the environmental energy of a seasonal winter. And then as we go into the summer, we might still feel this outgoingness, but it's not going to be the same kind of experience that we would have in ovulation in the environmental winter as we would have in our summer winter, because the demands of the environmental summer ask more of us. They ask us to go to barbecues. They ask us to be social. So how we exist in our cycle is going to feel and perhaps look differently in the environmental season of summer than it would in our environmental fall, our environmental winter, or environmental spring. And this is the beauty, is that it's not about doing this perfectly. It's about seeing how the energy feels, seeing the demands of life, and then tweaking what we've been doing to match our rhythm of our menstrual cycle into what the outside world is asking from us. And that's all we're doing with this. So, environmental summer. This is a time when the sun is out there for longer during the day. We have more daylight time. We generally don't want to sleep as much because it's still bright at 11 p.m. So we have this feeling of pushing ourselves. The energy is warm, which makes us want to be outside. It doesn't make us feel like we want to hibernate. People here are so full of energy. We pack so much stuff in here. We want to do all the sports. We want to do all the barbecues. We want to do all the socializing. A lot of fun can happen here. So then what we have to do is look at that environmental energy and see how we can match that with our 4 inner seasons, or the 4 compartments of our menstrual cycle. Now, this is just like a really brief kind of like example of how you can do this. What I put out to you is to maybe sit with it and create your own method that works for you. So a lot of this is kind of like how I see my body. So in the summertime, when I am in my follicular phase, my inner spring, there's this urgency of wanting to start to come out a little bit quicker out of my shell after bleed days. There is this wanting to jump off the dock and kind of go with the energy. And so go with it. You know, maybe this is a time where you want to like start to plan the vacations. You want to start to get out there on the road. You might want to do that camping trip, right? Summer's really short where I live, so we try to do the most we possibly can in a really short amount of time. So do that, start springing off that board. Now, you might notice here that you have a lot of energy, that you might be going at rapid fire to get as many things in. So to balance that, I would say try to get enough sleep at night. Try to maybe clock it out at 7 p.m. Say, listen, at 7 p.m., I've got to like turn in a bit. Or maybe if you have a lot of things going on, maybe it's at 9 o'clock, I turn off TV, I read a book, I create good bedtime hygiene, and then I promise myself to be in bed by 11. So just think about like you can have a lot of the spunk in the core of the day, but still try to balance that spunk with a little bit of like ease. Because remember, our follicular phase, we don't have the fullness yet. We are emerging into the world, right? We are doing this slow step into our fullness, which is our ovulation. So then when we go into ovulation, our inner summer, meaning our outer summer, you can imagine 2 summers intertwining. It's a lot. We are probably going to push the boundaries here. We're going to stay up way too late. We're going to do a lot of things, and it's all okay. This is the time to do it. Like, this is the time to live the life and be at its fullest and say yes if it really nourishes you. Now, here's how we balance our inner summer in the environmental summer. Don't say yes to things that you're going to have to do a week later. So you don't want to commit. We have this tendency of saying yes to everything. Don't commit to a bunch of stuff in your inner fall, when you're going to be in your luteal phase, when it's past ovulation and the body's winding down and preparing for menstruation. So just watch yourself that when you've had maybe a little too many adult drinks, or you've been out having the best time ever with some friends, that you don't overcommit yourself to things that you don't know you can do. A few podcasts ago, we had the guest speaker Ellen on, and she talked about how you can say, let me get back to you. Like, that should be your phrase for summer. Let me get back to you. That sounds like a great idea. It sounds like a lot of fun. Let me get back to you. And then sit with it and think about, is this going to play in to when my energy is starting to dwindle? Now, we're going to get into the complicated part of our cycle in our inner fall, where this is where I think a lot of women in summer struggle a lot, is because we still feel this fullness of summer. We still want to put ourselves out there and do a ton of crap, but we just don't have the energy capacity to do it. And so in our fall, what I always say, and I get this question a lot, but I don't want to say no to things. I don't want to decline. So don't say yes to all of them, but think about in the moment when you're in those things, how can I take mini pauses to be with myself, to remove myself from the noise, the overstimulation, to the things that are probably going to irritate me and start to get me a little anxious. So it might be that if you're at an all-day event with a bunch of friends or a sporting event or whatever it might be, outdoors in the heat, you might be like, you know what? I just need to plan 10-minute alone times with myself. Maybe it's getting an air conditioning car to cool your body down and just go for a little drive. Maybe it's that you just go for a little bit of a walk by yourself. But give yourself permission to check out of events for a duration of time, to be by yourself, to be in quiet, to be in a place where there's not a lot of stimulation, and rebalance. That's the best message I can give you. I'm in my inner fall right now, and it's been a busy week. It's been a very busy week. And I said yes to a lot of things, and I'm excited about them all. But yesterday, when I said yes to going out for dinner with a friend, it was the right choice for me, even though I stayed up way too late, because it was a friend that really grounds me. It is a person who we have these really great conversations that don't require a lot of energy output. It just flows naturally. It's not a lot of high energy. She's a soft talker. Like, there was a space where it was just, it's gentle. It's like being in a hug during your inner fall. And so that really nourished me, especially because I was feeling very PMSy all day. I was starting to stamp at my kids. There was too much noise. There was too much fighting. It was just so much going on for an energy output that it was really nice to escape and just have a very quiet, a dim lit atmosphere where I could reconnect. Now, our winter. Another tricky one. How do we live in our environmental summer when we're bleeding? And here's the thing. This is the time to do those things or to give yourself permission for rest a lot. So if you're on a family vacation, maybe it's that you take an afternoon nap. Maybe it's that you go to a park and the kids play and you bring a book and you just read on the bench. Do things that are slow, that are nourishing, and that kind of give you a little bit of a break. And if you're in, like, if maybe you have, like, you're going camping with a bunch of friends, or you're doing a family vacation with a bunch of people, or that you have lots of baby showers or weddings or whatever, just allow yourself pockets of time, like you did in your fall, to remove yourself and to rebalance. Remember, the best way to nourish ourselves, rather than doing it perfectly, is just to minimize by like 20% in our winter. So really think about how you can embrace your cycle in this really high energy, fun state. Now, my second tip for you is to really feel the fullness of summer and embrace it, because ovulation and summer are super important. Summer and ovulation are those two peak moments, one for the environment, one for our body, where it really does dictate how well things are going to go down in the second half of our cycle. If we have a really optimal ovulation and, we've definitely ovulated, we've released the egg, the whole thing's happening, we are creating the foundation for a very nourishing second half of our cycle. We're going to have enough hormones to do what we need to balance the releasing or the dropping estrogen. There is so much potency in having a really good ovulation. Just like there's a lot of potency of having a really good summer. I don't know about you, but where I live, Our winters are horrible. There's very little light. There is cold weather. We're indoors a lot. And a lot of people go through mood disorders in the winter here. And a great way, in my personal opinion, not scientifically proven, is to be able to balance that with the joys of life that you experience in the summer. If you just continue to go through life with this feeling of not enoughness, of melancholy, of just feeling like you cannot show up or that you shouldn't show up, we're layering on isolation. And summer's asking us to get out, move the body, energize, laugh, have gratitude to help us carry through those harder months when our moods might shift a bit more, where we might feel a little bit more lethargic, where we might not feel our optimal health. So really use the summer as the springboard to experience so much love and gratitude and fun. In my priestess training in the summer months, we had it's a 13 moon school, or 13 moon mystery school. There you go. And so we look at 13 different divine feminine archetypes that exist. And in particular, the archetype for June is the muse. The muse is all about letting go of what you think you should be doing and just play, have fun. And when we do that, we open so many more doors for more opportunities to come in, more life in the body. And then the archetype for July, for that moon, is the goddess of love. This is just really feeling the expansion of being seen, being visible, loving, receiving love. It's beautiful energy. And then August is the primal goddess. It's the goddess that lets go of all the rules and just lives in her primal instincts. To me, at least, in my mind, she's like the woman that we imagine, the wild woman who's dancing naked around the fire. It's just that person that just takes all this energy and just lives life fully, right? And so think of those three archetypes in our summer. This is what our summer's asking us. It's asking us to get out there, be seen, be visible, have fun, be expansive here, because there is going to be a time when we downward shift and we put all of the experiences, all of the joy, all of the gratitude of summer, and then we put it into keeping the tank full or full-ish through the second half of our cycle. And then my third tip for you, and this might seem like a silly kind of tip, but I think it's important, is at the end of summer to really just thank summer for all that it brought. Thank summer for the harvest that came from it, everything that was a birth, every experience that you had. Thank summer for all that it had. Show that gratitude. But start to prepare your exit strategy. It's really important for us not to try to continue to live in the summer energy once summer is done. If you can imagine everything that you're doing right now in these summer months, of the constant, nonstop go, interacting, late nights, travel, if we try to do that every month throughout the whole year, we probably, would not appreciate summer anymore because we're trying to live it every day. But also, we would be tired. We'd be run down. And this is what we're doing in our menstrual cycle. Society loves us to be in our inner summer, in our ovulation phase, that outgoing, that funness, that connector of people. And what we really need to do is to create this space of going, wow, that was awesome. Best summer ever. Had a great time. Lots of memories. Glad we have photos. But now I'm ready for routine. Now I'm ready to get back on track with everything that I'm envisioning in my life. Now I'm pulling back from being outward and I'm allowing myself to go inward with everything that I experienced and lived in that outward energy. And I'm taking it into my inward life and seeing how I can use that now to manifest or to call in or to build the next version of me. And this is how we can really embrace the summer energy of knowing it's a short period of time. Let's live it to its most. Let's have lots of fun. But let's also prepare ourselves that we are going to exit this at some time. We are not going to expect ourselves to do this the whole time. And it can be a relief. It can be this experience of allowing ourselves to go big, to go all in, because we know it's not forever. And so those are my 3 tips. 1, don't forget about your cycle. Embrace it. 2, feel the fullness of it. And 3, show your gratitude for what it gave, but then be prepared to leave the bus, leave the summertime behind, and take what you experience from it to really grow and to deepen in to what you need. And when fall comes here, well, I'm sure we'll have another episode about how we can really do that move, that migration from summer into fall, but we need it. And so those are my 3 tips. And I truly believe that if you incorporate just elements of this, you'll probably feel less overwhelmed. You'll probably feel less burnt out, and will give yourself the capacity to really enjoy summer in all 4 of your phases, knowing that they require slightly different things. So go be playful, enjoy your summer, and let me know in the community or through email or in the comments of the podcast of how it's going for you. How's it going incorporating your summer or your cycle into your summer? And how is it maybe feeling a little bit different than it did last year? So go be playful, have fun, and we'll chat with you next week. For way too long as women, we have been guided to hate our menstrual cycle and to curse our hormones. We have lost the art of seeing the inner power of being cyclical. So, if this podcast is inspiring you and waking up a new curiosity of how your cycle can be your superpower, I invite you to check out the She Sisterhood. This is a monthly membership that will align you to your unique rhythm through aligned womb yoga practices, cycle coaching on how to weave your cycle wisdom into everyday life, and to be part of a community of women that are awakening to their inner power. Remember, womb wisdom equals connection to self, which ultimately equals inspired living. And if you love this episode, don't forget to rate and review. I love seeing how this information is transforming your life.